So what I want to go through here real quick is I want to go through this concept of what is strategy and how to explain strategy.
Okay.
So this image that we use is from the book The Primes. And this is kind of our recreation of it, if you will. It's a little bit different in a couple of notable ways, and I'll go through that here. First, this big triangle at the bottom is what we call the stake. Okay?
Right. I remember that from our training.
And I want you to think about the stake not just as the balance point that everything is resting on, but I want you to realize that there is a left and a right side. If you stay as is on the left side, you are going to roll back. If you move forward to what you can become, right, you're gonna roll forward. Okay? And whatever that stake is, you're either going to lose it or you're going to gain it. Okay, that's piece one that I want you to really think about, explain. And as you're going through this process with people, I want you to have them define for you. So when you're sitting down with somebody, ask them, hey, what's at stake? Right? If we turnkey this business, if we have better strategy, if we have better systems, does that mean that you get to see all of your kids' baseball games? And if you don't, you have to miss those. Right? We, as you know, we have a marriage coaching business. I was talking to somebody recently and I said, what's at stake is not just the pain of the divorce and the separation of the marriage, but for many people, what's at stake is spending half of the days per year with their kids.
Right.
Right. And so I asked the question, and I think this is there are very similar questions that can be asked within the business. I started asking the question, how much would I have to pay you to not see your children, especially your young children, 50% of the year?
Right.
Right? Is there a number that we could put on that? Right? For most people, there's not even a number that they'd be willing to verbalize and say, hey, if you give me $1 million, I'm down. Right?
Yeah.
There's not a number. And so that's the value of what we're talking about with this stake. And so really getting that concrete for them and having them really understand and viscerally feel that is critical to this process. This big egg at the top is what we like to call the environment. Okay? The environment is all the things that are impacting where you find yourself right now. Okay? So it's the economic environment, right? If you're in Russia, that economic environment just changed, right?
Right.
Right? It's the social environment. It's your business's environment in culture. It's your cash position. It's all of those things, right? What's the environment you find yourself in, and how do we think about, well, what are those things, and what are my current advantages and disadvantages in this environment? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where needs analysis comes in, as is. What is our current state? I have come to believe, and I don't know if David shares this belief, but I think he does. The average business owner that we talk to has no idea what the state of their business really is.
Correct. I know that for a fact.
Right? They just have no idea. And it's not because they're stupid. It's because they're so focused in many cases working on the business that they do not have time to step outside of it and say, what's going on in the business?
Yeah.
Okay. And so giving them, through needs analysis, a clear picture of what is going on, what is our current state. Okay. And then extracting from them, what is the future state that you want? Where are we going to? What is the mission? Right? What's the vision? Right? And this could be a 3-month state. This could be a 6-month state. This could be a 5-year state. right? It could be all of those, but let's understand where we're actually going, because if we don't know where we're going, it's really hard to get there.
And it's hard to know what's at stake.
Well, no, the stake doesn't change. You could not know where you're going, but still know what's at stake,
Okay.
right? What you may not know is how to achieve success with what's at stake.
Okay.
Okay. Now this arrow is strategy. Okay. Strategy is fundamentally the plan, the processes that we are going to create that are going to move us from where we are to where we want to be. Now, that strategy may be made up of many tactics. It may be made up of few tactics. But strategy is that overarching plan that says these are the things that need to be in place in order for us to get there. Right? And so if we were to, and maybe we can create this, I want you to imagine a line of 4 or 5 of these images, back to back to back, with the first 4 tipped forward. Right?
Yep.
That's a picture of a growing business. Because they're implementing a strategy, they're getting to where they need to be. And then they're evaluating their current state, they're putting together a strategy, and they're getting to where they want to be. And they're doing this over and over and over and over and over. Okay?
Right.
That's ultimately what a successful business looks like. Is it's a line of these almost as dominoes moving forward.
Right.
Okay? In many cases, in the small business world, that strategy is accidental and it is a single tactic or a single tool.
Right.
Right. And so that's where we hear the term, well, we're going to put together your SEO strategies. Right. Now, that could be a zoom in, right? So like I want you to imagine like fractal or matrix style that we zoom in on this arrow. And when we zoom in, we have little boxes. Right. And in those little boxes are pictures just like this. Right. And in the pictures just like this, right, you could label it SEO strategy. And so what's at stake is maybe your positioning on Google. Right. Or 5 new customers a month is what's at stake with each of those individual tactics, right? Or SEO strategies.
Okay.
And so when we're explaining strategy to a client, what I like to do is I like to walk through this very concept that we just walked through. And I like to say, look, here's the big picture, right? Here's how we could visualize many other things with this picture. But ultimately, we have to deal with this arrow. This arrow, this bridge, how do I get from where we are to where we want to be? That's what we've got to figure out. Right? Because the reality is we just don't know yet. We just don't know yet. Right? And I think that's one of the things to really think about in all of this. Does that make sense? Because ultimately the goal here, if you want to go ahead and stop sharing real quick, David, I want to share something. The goal here is this right here. Have you seen this, Larry?
I've never seen that picture before, but I love it. Yeah, I want a dispenser like that, right?
I want that machine where I can go in, I can put $1 in, right, or 75 cents in this case, and pull out 50.
Yep.
That's what we're working to create for our clientele. And so that is the outcome of strategy.